CRE 2024 in Milton Keynes. I'm Chris from Monkey Nut, and I am delighted to be joined this time on the podcast by Margaret from Holy Socks. Hi, Margaret.
Hi.
It's lovely to have you here. Now, I'm going to confess, every time I get holes in my socks, I say that they've gone to the Lord and that they have now become holy. But as you clearly pointed out to me before we started, I can't spell. So I'm looking forward to chatting to you about Holy Socks. How did it all begin?
Well, it began one night in a wee place called Skelmerley, which is on the Clyde coast. I was attending a weekend on a course with the Scottish Churches Open College. And we were discussing what we called the Jesus Loves You t-shirt. And being reserved Scots, of which there are a few, we weren't too happy about wearing it and what have you. And somebody was wearing Wallace and Gromit socks. And I said, oh, that biblical socks, that would be a good idea. And I said, I bet somebody does it. And I said, I bet they call them holy socks. And we all went to bed laughing, and I thought, right, I'm going to look up on the internet and see if I can find holy socks. So I looked up holy socks, Christian socks, biblical socks, spiritual socks. The only thing I found was the traditional, somebody in Canada was putting on the traditional face of Jesus, you know, the long hair, long face. Somebody
Yes.
was putting that in a sock. And I mean, the cogs must have been turning even then. And I just thought, no, not doing that. And my husband had given me a Bible Explorer to help with the course, because in those far off days, you didn't get the Bible online the way you do now.
No.
And I typed in feet, and I typed in walking and heel and toe and what have you. And even when you took out the references to the foot of the mountain, there were over 600 verses relating to feet and walking and what have you. And I think at that moment I thought, oh, this isn't just a laugh. There's something underpinning, you know, the laugh of holy socks. So at some point we added faith on your feet to the, so it's holy socks, faith on your feet. And it's the kind of, holy socks makes you laugh. Rarely fails. And faith on your feet really makes you think. It's not all funny, it's not all serious, it's a balance. God does have a sense of humour, and he does weep over us.
Yes, he does.
And so long as I can manage to keep the balance right, it's fine. If I get too funny, it doesn't work. If you get too serious with yourself, it doesn't work. So we try and keep the balance. But that's how it started, and it's a kind of symbol of pilgrimage as well. I mean, when I started that course, people were talking about you're on a journey, and I'm thinking, what are they on about? You know, but since then, as I say, it was a long time ago. Since then, of course, every second person that's interviewed talks about the wonderful journey they've been on and what have you. But in recent years, journeys have kind of got moved on to pilgrimage. And of course, pilgrimage, and particularly in Scotland, pilgrimage is well known and it has a great history. So it is very much that faith journey, pilgrimage. And increasingly, I see the depth in the Christian faith. It's not surface, there's depth, and every time you think you've got to the bottom of the depth, if you like, whee goes the carpet, and there's more to, you know, to find out, more in the Christian journey, more connection with God. So yeah, that's where it started, and I suppose that's what it is now.
Oh, wow. That's quite the story, and I wanted to use the word journey, but the word is pilgrimage here in this conversation. I can see you brought something along with you. What have you brought?
Yeah, well, I brought our pilgrimage sock along.
Oh. If you just open that up and give us a
I'll
flash.
open it up.
Oh, look at that.
Now, you're all probably saying, what on earth is that? Well, it's a view from a place of pilgrimage, which is the St Ninian's Cave in southwest Scotland, very near where we are. It's about 20 odd miles from where we are. I have to be very careful with this because we sell our socks in Iona, and Iona is, of course, known with St. Columba. But before St. Columba was on Iona, St. Ninian was in Whithorn. And he was really the first person to bring Christianity to Scotland. So there's a revival of the Whithorn Way from Glasgow to right the way down the west coast to Whithorn. And that's obviously one of my favourite socks. It's a view. I took a photograph from the back of the cave. It's a very distinctive shape of the cave. I think it looks a bit like Batman pointing in that direction. But people sometimes look at it and think, what on earth is that? And you think, well, it's this. So I brought that one along, and I brought it is our latest sock, but I have changed the verse on it, so it's a completely new story because I write stories with these socks as well. Very short verse. Be still.
Simple, short, and sweet.
Absolutely, and it's an illustration of Jesus calming the storm. So we have a first century fishing boat on one sock. Very good at making these socks. We have so many pairs of socks which aren't actually pairs. So we have the first century fishing boat on one in the storm, and on the other sock we have a 21st century fishing boat in nice calm waters with nice trees in the background, and the fish are all just quite happy underneath. Whereas they're quite storm-tossed on the other sock.
I love that. That's such a nice story. And I love that you've got stories for each of your socks.
Yeah.
I might have problem pairing socks. I'm useless at pairing socks, but I think having seen...
Well, you see, you don't have to.
No, exactly. You can tell different stories on different days, couldn't you, on your socks?
Yes.
So how are you making the socks yourselves?
No, we design them.
You just design them, and then you're getting them...
We have a manufacturer in Leicester who... the socks are designed in the UK. They're made in Turkey. And they're made with yarn from Better Cotton Initiative, which of course means the producers get more for their
they're product. Well paid, they're properly looked after.
Yeah, which is good. And a lot of our socks as well have the comfort tops now, which a lot of people prefer rather than the elasticated tighter ones. So that's really it's a bit of our story.
And you've been coming to CRE for a very, very long time. What first brought you to CRE?
I think they sent me an email and said, we're coming to Scotland, would you like to exhibit? And I thought, well, if you're coming to Scotland, maybe I should exhibit since you're making the effort to come up here. So very early on, we sold our first pair of socks in 2000. And 2002, we went to Edinburgh and exhibited our socks there, and it was a very exciting experience because, one, we hadn't taken our socks really to exhibit it. I had heard of CRE, but never been. So when I turned up at CRE and we set up the stand, and then I started to walk around, and I thought, this is absolutely amazing, because I was totally astonished at all the things, all the areas in life that Christians were involved in. I particularly remember Send a Cow, because I thought that's about as good a name as you can get apart from Holy Socks. But it really did amaze me how so many areas in life and so many things that Christians were doing. I just thought, you need to get everybody in here. Christians or not, you need to get atheists, you need to get potential Christians, you need to get everybody in here and just show them what Christians are doing in community and not just within the church walls, but out there on the streets, everywhere.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you've had a really fabulous journey with CRE. Before I let you go, how many pairs of socks do you think you've designed?
Oh, gosh.
Are we talking hundreds?
Not quite, no. Probably about 50, 60 designs.
That's still a
over
lot,
the-
though, for socks, isn't it?
It's
That's
a lot of
amazing.
socks, yeah.
Well, if you'd like to find out more about Holy Socks, is there a website we can point people to?
There is. It is www.holysocks.co.uk.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for joining us here at CRE. And if, like Margaret, you would like to be an exhibitor here at CRE next year, why don't you hop onto the website? It's creonline.co.uk.